Cool, cool, cool. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We really appreciate your time, especially I know late on a Friday night. There's lots of things we can be doing, but we really appreciate you guys being here. My name, of course, is William Chute. I am a tutor here at Practicum. I'm also a proud Practicum graduate, and I'm a full stack software engineer in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to be hosting this little webinar, but it's not about me tonight. It is about our awesome contestants and also the awesome container company. So let's go ahead and just give a quick overview of why we're here. So we're going to be talking with the participants of our recent Apiary project, and we're obviously going to discuss what they've done. Our Apiary program gives students the opportunity to work as a team, first off. It allows students to challenge themselves and, of course, showcase real-world projects in their portfolio. So the companies, of course, get an MVP or even a deployable application or website. So as a bonus, students get feedback and support from people working in the industry, letter of recommendation on LinkedIn, et cetera, and they get to work under the tutelage of one of our awesome tutors. So throughout the project, Apiary managers, designers, company representatives are all working with students, guiding them, helping them through the process. Basically, our Apiary team tries to mimic the environment of a professional remote team as much as possible. Of course, working with real companies like Iterative, Primu, and Ant Robotics. So today we have participants. I believe I see Shraddha here, Riley, Tristan, Guy, Dasha, Alec, Katya. I believe that's everyone. And they're going to present their websites created for the Awesome Container Company. The Awesome Container Company set its mission to eliminate plastic and single-use packaging in the food and beverage industry. And the CEO, Hung Lam, is here today to join us. Thank you so much. So before we start, let's see. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat, in the stream, and I'll try to get to them as we go. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and talk to Mr. Lam, the CEO. So hello. How are you doing tonight? All good?
Good, Will. How are you? Thanks for hosting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So how did you come up with the idea of the Awesome Container Company? Where did it come from?
So yeah, I've been in the restaurant business for over 25 years. I own a chain of restaurants throughout Asia, and also, you know, ordering takeout, ordering food for dinner. You see it every day. The trash, the amount of trash that we create is just crazy. And it's only getting worse because, you know, more food delivery equals more waste. So I created a solution that will eliminate plastic and single-use packaging and also help companies become a more sustainable company.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I actually worked in the restaurant industry for about 8 years myself. And yeah, I know there's a lot of trash. So yeah, it definitely piles up. So what ended up leading you to join the Apiary program? How did you get connected with Practicum?
So I joined the GSD Labs Accelerator program. I think Practicum was a partner. Practicum was offering website development or data science to our cohort. So I took full advantage of that.
Very cool. And so what specifically were you asking our students to do and accomplish?
So I wanted to build a website for restaurant partners where they could find information on ACC and what we're trying to accomplish. We wanted a landing page where they could, well, we could educate the public on issues of waste and how they can help solve it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that makes sense. That sounds like our specialty here. So the participants are about to, show off what they've created. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you just curious, ready to see it?
Oh, I'm very excited. And I just want to thank everyone for taking their time. I mean, it's a really long process and you guys are doing it to help us build this website. I want to thank everyone very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. We're going to jump on over to talk to one other person. Mr. Josh should be here. So let's jump on over to Josh. Josh is a tutor here at Practicum and the mentor who helped all of these students create their projects. Josh has spent the last 7 years working as a software engineer in a variety of different companies, both in public and private sector. He actually graduated from UNC Chapel Hill with a degree in computer science, and apparently he's working on his master's in computer science. Bravo. That's awesome. And he now works as a senior engineering lead at a startup in the video streaming industry, which is great. You could probably help us simplify these streams. They always have technical difficulties. But anyway, thank you for joining us, Josh. Let's go ahead and jump in. So how did you become a mentor for this Apiary project in particular, actually?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm a regular mentor, like you said, for several of our cohorts in the web development program at Practicum, and kind of, I've participated in Apiary projects before from time to time. This one looked like a really nice project that I wanted to be involved with. Awesome container company, looked really cool. So Sonia pitched it to me, and I was like, hey, yeah, I'd love to be involved.
Cool. So what ended up being your favorite part of working with the students and the project?
So my favorite part of working with Practicum in general is really when we get to this late stage, like when students are kind of working on finding jobs and figuring out like how to make that transition from student to software engineer, and being able to make a significant impact at that stage is really the part that I really love. It's really hard to make a career change like these students are doing, and being part of that support system to help them get there that's the part that I really like about this.
Yeah, that's awesome and really good to hear. I actually work with most of the intro sprint students. So all the people coming in, I usually talk to them. And so it's a totally different part of the process. But yeah, I imagine towards the end, it can be really fun and really exciting. So next question, which areas of web dev do you think our students kind of had nailed down, were really strong in?
So to me, it's almost kind of like a running joke in the software community that as a product manager, the thing you ask for is almost never the thing that you end up with. Working with these Apiary projects, this cohort of Apiary students in particular, I'm incredibly impressed with how faithful to designs these projects all are. We ended up with like 4 or 5 versions of the app that are all, that are all incredible. They're beautiful. They all function. They work great. It's fantastic. I'm really impressed. They did a really great job.
Awesome. Cool. That's good to hear. I know there's definitely a long road between prototype and product. And yeah, you're right. They're usually in two different universes. Anyway, what additional info did you do for them? Did you host for them? Did you have like webinars or like get together on Zoom calls?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like regular office hours. And then we did a soft skills webinar kind of halfway through that we recorded that is basically how to draw from these kinds of real world project experiences to talk about during interviews, to be able to like when you're asked like behavioral questions in interviews, how to pull those and relate those to real projects that you've worked on, and those kinds of skills. That was a really fun webinar.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, that's for anyone who attended that. Those are extremely useful. You will definitely be asked about your projects when you start interviewing for companies. And then one more question off script here, but I just was curious. When did y'all start on this project? How long has this been going for?
I think about a month now, maybe 5 weeks, maybe a little over a month.
Cool. Yeah, I know some of the Apiary projects are shorter, some are longer. So yeah, just wanted to get an idea. Awesome. So let's see what you all have accomplished in the last month. Of course, thank you, Josh. Appreciate your time. I'll, of course, ask you a few more questions in a minute. So
sure.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so we're jumping on to the first team, team 1, the pink team. Let's see. Are you guys ready? Anyone on the pink team here?
Yep, we're all here.
Okay. If you have a presentation, I can let you share your screen. Who's going to be sharing screen?
I will be sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I have to make you a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and try now. Take it away.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Katya, and I'm here to present our project on the landing page of Awesome Container Company. and along with my team members, Shraddha and Alec. Yes, here we are, our own beautiful faces. So I was working on the project as a front-end developer, and in the next slides, we'll go over some website features. And in the end, Shraddha will do a quick demo of the landing page. So talking about technologies that we used on the project. So for the front-end part, we used React. It's a JavaScript library, and it helped us to make website interactive. In order to create animation, we used the animation library FrameEmotion. And to style the page, we used the CSS framework Tailwind. For the backend part, we used Express Node.js framework. And in order to make it possible to send an email, we used AWS Simple Email Services. And for deployment, it was Heroku. And the next. So our website is fully responsive from desktop screen sizes to the mobile up to the screen size of 375 pixels. So one of the first features that you see when you open the website, it has a beautifully animated welcome screen with the ACC logo, and it gives available and memorable first impressions to the user, and it sets the tone for the in-app experience. So next feature is a beautiful chat animation to mimic the general inquiry. And if the client decides to send an email, they're so excited to work with the ACC, so they can do it right here from the this part, I want to work with you. Another fun animated part is the circular workflow of the company in the step-by-step process. And this animation makes the elements appear one by one that gives a clarity to a user. And now I'm passing on the control to my teammate, Alec.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So what I worked on mostly was how we were going to set up the backend as well as how we were sending emails with the form. In the end, we started working with AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services and their simple email service. And it worked very well. It's very cost effective and flexible, and you can change how you want the emails to work. If you want to send the same email to multiple different people, you can. It also gives you like a great breakdown of how many are being sent to where. You can even see in these images, like it tracks basically all of that. So this is just talking a bit more. It is a pay as you go. Again, like we're using the free tier right now. I believe we are currently limited to 200 emails a day. However, it is also a very cheap service. So if you do anticipate going over that, it's basically pennies at that point. There's no contract or anything like that. And also, if you want to set up different authorization, we have steps on how to do that in the README file. So this was just an example of how the email looks. Like as you can see, my Gmail account that was sending the email, you can change that automatically. You just need to authorize it. It is sending to my Yahoo account that you can change automatically too. And this was just the format of how I picked to display the information when someone submits the form. But again, that can also be changed. And for our actual backend server, we are hosting it on Heroku. We could have used AWS, but we found that Heroku was just much easier to configure and set up, and it works very well. We've had basically no trouble with it. Another feature that we have is the editable data. So if you do want to change anything, you just need to work with this file. You don't actually need to like go through all the code and understand how everything works if you want to change how the website is looking or the data on the website. And yeah, this just kind of goes over a bit. We basically just optimize the website and how it works. We also made sure that like the description and keywords that accurately define ACC will be added to help the search engine kind of find the website that you're looking for. And this was just like a quick workflow of how things work. The user can go to the website on GitHub. From there, they can submit a form that interacts with the server, which goes through AWS. It authorizes the email and then submits that, and that's how we receive it. Yeah, now to Shraddha to go over the demo.
Thanks, Alex. So I would give a quick demo of our webpage. The moment you come here, you are greeted with a beautiful animation. In the front, you have this header that gives the motto of the company, and then we have the slider that basically compares how you would be, like the situation would be without some container company and how it would be with it. We have this beautiful animation going here that mimics the inquiry, and you could basically click on I want to work with you if you want to contact the company. So this form, basically the demo, Alec would give it in a while, but you could just close it with either pressing escape or clicking outside or clicking on the form. We have this beautiful animation over the logo that kinds of give the character to the web page. As you scroll down, we have the problem, the section that indicates what's the problem of the single-use packaging is. And as we scroll down, you have this fade in animation for the page that's been given in order to give that interactivity to the page. Then you have the section where what is the solution that ACC is providing that have been described. They provide like 3 containers that have been given as slides with their features and sizing. The good thing with our solution, like with our web page, is anything that we are seeing on the web page, all the data, right from the feature to sizing, from the picture to the header, everything can be changed if needed. You could add the slides and remove the slides as and when the requirement is from a single data file that Alec mentioned. As you scroll down, we have this section, how it works. And as you see, we have the step-by-step animation going on here that kinds of give a clarity to user that this is how the company works. Again, everything is customizable here. And if you click work with us, the form opens. We have this impact section, again, highlighting what's the benefit for the business and users if they're using the service. It's modifiable again. Then we have this table that clearly highlights the competition in the market and how ACC is having edge over it. The data here is populated dynamically and you could change it if needed. And yep, we ask user to contact the company if they are interested in the service. And then we have this section where we have the links to the awesome container company's team and their partners. And then we have this footer. Well, our web page is completely responsive. So if you go on the tablet side, we have this button outside, and when you click on hamburger, this has this subtle animation.
Are other people showing theirs?
And then everything else just works fine. I mean, it just works beautifully on the mobile, smallest mobile design too. The good thing with our web page is we have focused on optimizing the web page for its performance, accessibility, and best practices and search engine optimization too, so that it gives a good feel to the user when they come. And also when in search engine you search the page, awesome container company's page should be easily findable. Now I would like to hand over the control, the sharing screen to Alec so that he could demo the form submission.
Okay, I think if everyone can see that, okay. So it's just sort of on example, if I could say containers at, oh, and also here you can see how like you're required to actually put in valid information, request, and once we send that, you can just sort of see it saved everything, and this will automatically go away after a few seconds. And then if I can sort of restart my page. You can see here that it did go through. I have the email I put in, the company name, and the request.
Awesome, awesome. Very cool. Great job. Wow, very good presentation. Great looking website. Very impressive. Yeah, great job, guys. So, Hung, what do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's very well thought out from start to finish. I mean, just also like it's very easy if you choose to hand over to the next person, because they have that single data file where you could change everything. That's very, very, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, very good job thinking not only about making the actual application, but thinking about where it's going next, who's going to need to make changes to it next. That is very awesome, especially in this industry. It's very great to think about who's going to be using your application, not only from the front end, but on the back end as well. So Josh, what do you think? How do you think that went?
I think it went fantastic. I'm really proud of him.
Cool. And what do you think is the most difficult part of this process? This project rather, looked rather complicated.
I think the getting like a really nice, crisp, clean animations is tricky. Doing the contact form can be tricky depending on how you choose to go about it. There's a number of different ways you can implement it. I think AWS is a really great way to go about it, especially if you're thinking about the handoff later. I think what you don't see from the presentation is that they also did a really, really fantastic job documenting their code for the next, following the Boy Scout principle. They left it really clean for the next programmer.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. The Boy Scout principle. Awesome. Well, Pink Team, what did you think was the most challenging part of this whole project?
So, at least for setting everything up, I do think the animations were quite difficult to get right. There's a lot you needed to do and a lot that needed setting up. I think also, at least setting up the server and everything there, that took quite a bit of time and effort. We actually basically had to split up how we were deploying the service to Heroku and to GitHub because there was a limit and we basically exceeded that limit. So it would have started costing money and we didn't want to do that. So yeah, I think just making sure everything worked, making sure the deployment was right. And also just like, for instance, working with AWS, you do need to set up authorization, set up an account, and just in our case, not having done anything like that before or using these types of softwares before, it was definitely challenging, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It looks like it definitely worked out. That's funny. You had to work around the Heroku thing and not get charged. I actually never considered that, but yeah, definitely makes sense. Well, have any of y'all worked together before as a team? I know a few of you have done other projects, or are we all first time working together?
So, well, all three of us are working together for the first time, but I have worked with other teams before.
Yeah.
It was nice working together though.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I definitely recognized you, Shraddha. I know you always do very awesome presentations. So you have lived up to your reputation, done another great job. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Pink Team. We're going to move on next to the Blue Team. Do we have anyone from Blue Team here?
Yep, I'm here, Will.
Cool. Okay, Mr. Riley, go ahead.
Cool. So what's going on, everyone? I'm Riley. I worked with Tristan Boyd on this project. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But the whole purpose of this project is, we're trying to create a homepage for the awesome container company. And, this is a place for them to talk about who they are, what they're all about. And ultimately, this is going to be where people go to learn about them and reach out to them. So this is our project. Main technology that we use to build this project is React. We were kind of going back and forth between choosing React or doing just vanilla JavaScript, because as it is, there's not like a whole ton of functionality that you have to deal with. So I think if the page is not going to change at all, you could do vanilla JavaScript. We chose React because we're trying to think about the future. And we're assuming that, at some point there's going to be extra features and more functionality that we're going to add. So by going with React, we're going to get speed, and it's also going to be a lot more easy to maintain as the project grows. So I guess I'll just kind of scroll and briefly go over, our project. Looks pretty similar to the last teams. You'll notice that as we get over each different section, the content of the section will kind of reveal itself, which we did with a library called Framer Motion. So yeah, that's what our project looks like. I think one thing I'll also talk about is the library that we used for this carousel. It's called Embla Carousel. And I think the reason that I really like it is because it really just handles the functionality, and it leaves all of the styles up to you. I noticed that, I tried to use some of the other libraries like Swiper and things like that. And I noticed that they come with a lot of like predefined styles, like this button right here. In order for it to match our design, you'd have to jump through a bunch of hoops in order to get it to look right. So that's not the case with Embla. They leave all the styles up to you. But the cool thing about it is you can change, it's very customizable. So you can change the speed at which the slides change. You can do infinite scrolling. So if you're on the first slide and you want to go backwards, no problem. Other thing I like about it is it's good about gestures. So you don't have to use these buttons here. You can just drag it and change the slide that way. And it also will work on with swipes. So if you open this up on your cell phone and you want to swipe, with your finger, you can actually change the slide that way too. Let me see. The last thing I'll mention about the carousel is that, and like pretty much everything on the page, it is controlled by with a text file. So all the controls for the carousel are very easy to change. You don't have to go hunting through a markup file. It's just right in the text file. The documentation link is right there, so you can look at all of your options. And I think if the next set of developers want to make changes, it'll be very easy and convenient to do so. So with that, if anyone has questions for me, I'd love to answer them. If not, I'm just, I'll pass this to Tristan and we'll keep going.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Tristan. I'll save questions for the end.
Cool.
Great. Can everybody hear me okay?
Sounds good.
Fantastic. Okay, I need to also share my screen, which looks like I can do. Excellent. Okay, so I want to get, there's two things I want to talk about. I think what we're going to see today is a lot of fantastic presentations like the last one we saw, where these teams have made really great products that look very similar because we were all really faithful to the design. So I want to talk about things that make ours different from the other products a little bit. And the first one I want to talk about, I'm going to get technical for just a second, if you'll bear with me here, is all of the styling, all of the colors, all of the margins, everything. There's a lot of ways we could do this, and we decided to go with something called styled components. So we wanted to avoid like tons and tons of data like this and a giant CSS file. So instead, we went with styled components, where what you can do is you can put all of this styling into one element, one component, and then plug that straight into your file. And the advantage of this is it gives us a lot of versatility. If we need to move an element around, if we need to change how something is framed, it's extremely easy to do this for us, but more importantly for developers down the road, right? Because we're thinking about ease of use here. And styled components allows us to take one element with all of the styling we need and plug it somewhere else. Let me give you a good example. This kind of work with us button here occurs multiple times on the page. It's up here. If you go to pricing, it's down there as well. Like this is going to occur several times. So we need to make this easy to move and put in different sections. We also needed to make it easy to like slightly alter, right? This one here is like slightly larger than the one at the top, and styled components gives us a great way to do that. It's a very powerful tool. So that was one we implemented. And then speaking of this button, actually, this takes us to our form. Yay. Now for this, we decided to go with Google Forms. Let me show you that right over here. This is incredibly easy to use, and it's free, which is fantastic. So handing over ownership of this to the company will cost them nothing. And B, it's incredibly easy to transfer ownership of this because it's just a URL, and we can just kind of plug a new one into the code if they decide to create a new form, or we can just hand over ownership of this one. And on top of that, if they want to make changes to it, again, extremely easy to do. It's all in this nice Google interface. And I'm sure we've all worked with Google before, either email or Google Drive. So learning the ropes will take you all of a minute, right? Anyway, so we can send, let's do something creative here. I've been going with Bob and Jim, but let's go Will. Will, I don't know your email.
Thank you.
I'm just going to do will@fake.com. That's my go-to. We also put like a placeholder. Well, it's not even a placeholder. You could just send right now with this message, right? But if you want to send something more personal, I want to use your services. Let's make it nice and excited. Thanks. We'll get in touch soon. Let's go over here. And there he is, Will, right there, right? And it's organized here. You can also have it sent straight to your email. So we can just kind of forward all of these messages straight to our email. Again, making it incredibly easy to use, which is exactly what we wanted to go for. Now, the very last thing I want to talk about, and I'm sure everybody's going to say this, so I'm kind of just prepared to hear this multiple times, is in order to organize the data, we put them in separate files like a lot of people, right? So instead of going into all of this complicated markup and trying to figure out, we want to change this title or whatever, we've got all of the data broken up by section. So it's not even just one giant data file. It's multiple files broken up by, the header, the first section, the pricing, with all the data. So if any changes need to be made down the line, they can be made incredibly easily. Again, going for ease of use was our #1 priority. And I think we did a pretty good job. Riley put in a lot of fantastic work. He was great to work with. And I'm pretty happy with the product we finished.
Cool. Awesome. Well, great job. Thank you. First off, Hung, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's another really well thought out. The code looks really nice. I like how they group all the similar things together. Like, for example, if it's background or whatever, if they need to change the color of the background, you just do it once, and then it will just change throughout the page. Yeah, I like how they, and also React. I'm not too familiar. It seems like it's more features if you use React.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a little more complicated to learn, but like they were saying, sometimes it's a little easier to maintain, and you do get a couple of extra features in there. So, yeah. How about you, Josh? Any comments?
I only get to comment on the smooth, crisp animations and the beautiful look on the first one. The other ones I have to come up with other stuff. So I did a short community webinar outside of Apiary like earlier on how to hack together these Google Forms for the contact forms. I was really excited that at least one of the groups used that approach for this. I think it's a little bit hacky, but it's a really nice way to do these handoffs on landing pages like this. I think it's just a really nice way to handle it. I think they did it really well. It's really cool, and it integrates with Google Sheets automatically, so you'll get all of those responses in a little spreadsheet, which is really cool. And if you have like other automations like Zapier and stuff, you can plug those into Google Sheets easily. But yeah.
Cool. So they are using Google Forms, but I guess sending the values through like an API layer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So they're posting. I can let Tristan explain it, but yeah, they're posting their form response to a Google form. So it's like, instead of embedding the Google form, they're able to customize it.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I also noted, I wrote down here, y'all used Framer Motion. Any comments on that? I think I've used that before. And I think it had a decent learning curve, but what was your experience with Framer Motion?
Was that
I thought it was awesome.
Cool.
Dude, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was complicated, so I handed off a lot of that to Riley.
Okay. Yeah. So,
but no,
understandable.
I think you're right. You get past the learning curve, and it's got, it's super powerful. He was able to, work miracles with that thing.
No, I agree. I tried to learn it like a year ago, and I was like, this is dumb. And then, I came back to it, 6 months ago, and I took the time to sit down and learn it. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So anyway, awesome job there. So I guess another question I have for y'all is, I noticed you were using obviously other, not frameworks, but like plugins and other sorts of things like Framer Motion and that Carousel you mentioned, as well as styled components, which is awesome as well. It's a very popular sort of combo with React that I see all the time. So basically, I guess I think both of you are like towards the end or graduated. So what are you working on now in terms of continuing your knowledge? It obviously looks like you're starting to expand out of the basic, JavaScript, React. So what are you all working on now?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Well, I think this project especially gave me a lot of confidence in being able to work with new technologies. Like these plugins, I feel a lot more comfortable with going to the documentation and just reading everything and, opening up a project and trying to play around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Before the project, I was not as comfortable with that. But in terms of what I'm learning now, I'd like to continue learning Framer Motion, because the way we used it in this project is like barely scratching the surface. It's like quite extensive what you can do with that. Let's see, other things. I mean, I would say like not really related to this project, but like Redux is definitely one I want to learn. TypeScript I see everywhere, so I'd like to learn that as well. What about you, Tristan?
Same, right? Yeah, I'm like on step 0.1 of Redux, map state to props. What does that even mean? And but yeah, I think this project, similar to Riley, it sort of, while working on this and then simultaneously like dipping my toes in a couple of different things like Redux and TypeScript, kind of gave me this understanding that you can read some documentation and you can read some articles about like, this is how you basically do things, but ultimately you're just going to need to dive in and create something and make a huge mess and then fix it. And that's the best way to learn, which is not to say, Riley just said read documentation. I don't mean like he's talking about actually working with I'm talking about I would just read it and be like, sure, that makes sense. Like, I think you got to get in, get your hands dirty and build something that's going to be awful at first, and read the documentation and slowly learn how these technologies work. Fortunately, I don't think we got our hands too gross on this project because we stuck to things we were mostly comfortable with. But yeah, I would say that's kind of the best thing I'm doing right now, is just trying to build things with new tech and failing and then trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces.
Right. Well, that's great advice for anyone in pretty much any stage of your development career. Yeah, break things, test new things out. And I definitely encourage students, when you're doing these apiary projects, throw in that library you haven't used before, throw in that module, branch out to Tailwind, branch out to styled components, Google what's popular, and then, try adding that in. And just by forcing yourself to use it on a project, you'll learn at least, how to be, I can't think of the word, baseline acceptable in that skill relatively quickly. So cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. So now we're going to jump on over to this team, this is a solo team guy, and he has a presentation for us. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see here. And then I'm going to make sure my audio, share computer sound. Okay, let's see what Guy has to say.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Guy, and I'm very happy to be here to present my project. I want to thank Practicum team for this opportunity to take part of this important project, because you know, we only have one of these. I find it very inspiring to work on a project that basically its main goal is to take care of this blue floating planet. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my project. So this is the project. Let me just refresh the page. As you can see, it's loading all the animations, and also have this nice chat animation. You can also click the button and the pop-up will pop up. So you can send a mail. And I made a validation to this form, so they won't receive as much spam as usually arrives these kind of forms. If you scroll down, you can see that all of the sub-objects in the screen are animated, so it makes like a more dynamic view of all the parts of the website. It was very important for me to make all the data not hard coded, so it could be easily changed. So all the data in the website is in a separate file, and any data that needs to be added could be added easily, like for these points, or if you want to add some more places that you currently open, or when you want to launch. The process of building this website, it's been a great opportunity for me to try and test new things, polish my skills, and like work from a project from start to the very end. And it's very exciting to know that this project will really be used in like real life, not just on another project in GitHub. So to wrap things up, I just very happy I took part of this project. It sure did add the more experience to me, and a great project to my portfolio. I think the most valuable thing for me was to find solutions by myself, because obviously I didn't know how to do everything. It's like you never know how to do everything, and you need to find a solution for example, for the chat, or for the how to send the form to the mail. And it was a great opportunity for me to try out and my solution finding skill, and I'm pretty sure this will add me more points in my portfolio as I'm starting my new career and seeking for a new job. And I want to thank you for joining me, and have a great stream. Bye.
Whoops, still muted. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you, Guy. Wherever you are, we appreciate you. Very good presentation as well. Quick, simple, to the point. Any comments, Hung or Josh?
Well, I'm impressed he did it himself. I mean, that's that's quite a feat. I mean, not you know, to say about the others, but you know, it's a great job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agreed on that point. I think it's a lot to take on by yourself, and he did a really excellent job with that.
Cool. Well, since Guy's not here, I can't ask him any questions, but I'm sure he would do great with that as well. We're going to move on to our next individual project. I believe it's Daria. Are you here in the stream?
Yeah, I'm here.
Wonderful. Okay, well, take it away.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll share my screen. All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Dasha. I also did this project. Let me know if you can't hear or see anything, but I think it should be good. Yeah, I also used the same design as everyone else, so it all looks about the same. I did work by myself on this project, and I did use React and GitHub for version control. Right now, my project is deployed on GitHub pages. It's public, it's open, so you can go and see how it all looks. About how I did it, let's see, I was able to code the entire website, all the parts of it. It is responsive. So if it goes over 1440 pixels, then it's all nice and centered. And if you go smaller, it just concise and nothing spills over. So that's nice. And if I reload the page, I'm met with chat, illustrate, and animation, sorry, and it's all nice and smooth. You can also click here and it will take you to the form, which I'll talk a bit later more about it. And this comparison slider I did using React Compare Image package was neat. The next notable component for me was this carousel. It was, I would say, the most challenging part for me, because I tried to use different packages, but I found that a lot of them require the slide itself to be an image. So it was really annoying dealing with when you change the sizes, for example. And since we have half of the slide is an image, half of the slide is a list, you know, wanted to have something more flexible than that, and something that would be easy to edit if needed. Like if you notice a typo or something, I wanted you to go there and be able to fix it if you really needed to. So I just did it from scratch, which was fine. The only thing that I was having a lot of trouble with transformations and animation, so I just left it as a simple switch, because honestly what I tried to do was nauseating and it was giving me a headache. So, you know, at least it works now. And yeah, and the rest of the website is coded, you know, how the specs were pretty much. Obviously special attention to the form. I also did use the Google form approach that Josh very kindly shared with us. So if you just say hello world, it goes to Google Forms, and there's the second response that I just said. So that's the form. It's functional and it works, which I'm very happy about. And also the menu is clickable. And that is pretty much it. Definitely lots of opportunity for me to, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to stop sharing my screen. There we go. Lots of room for creativity. Like I wanted to make a window that says thank you for submitting your response or something like that, but that would require me to cut deeper into the back end, and I wanted to keep this project as lightweight as possible and focus mainly on front end. And I wish I had a little bit more time to mess around with the transitions so that my website can look crisp and clear and pretty, but that's the risk that I took when I decided to do this project by myself. So still, I'm happy I did it. And yeah, I just want to thank Practicum and Awesome Container Company for giving us this opportunity. It was definitely a challenge. Happy I did it. Proud of myself, no matter how it looks now. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, we'll be happy to answer. And thank you so much for listening.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Thank you, Dasha. We will have a couple questions in a minute, but yeah, you definitely have something to be proud of. Great job. Once again, back to Hung and Josh, any comments?
I mean, she should be very proud of herself. Everything looks really clean, really smooth. I think layout of the website and the pictures it just looks really good. I like it a lot.
There's nothing left for me to say. I also think that you should be very proud of yourself. You did something really great. Looking at the code, it's very clear and concise code. Everything is laid out using all of the BEM principles, and it's very well organized. You've done that part very well. You did a great job.
Cool. And Dasha, if you don't mind, I just have a couple questions. So this is your first time participating in the Apiary program. So you've obviously done, the regular projects for Practicum. How did this compare to those? And was it difficult? Was it different from what you expected?
Yeah, so when you do a project during the course, you have all the design laid out, the instructions, everything's there for you. You just need to do it. And here, when we first started, we just had the desktop version, so I had to adjust to that on the way. It was different, but also really like a reality check, because you're not always gonna have everything laid out in front of you. So it was helpful to build that skill to go back in the code and adjust on the fly as it goes. But yeah, still, it was a great experience. I'm really happy I did it.
Cool. And we haven't talked about it as much this stream, but we usually talk about how we have students usually in different time zones, even across the world. One of the previous teams mentioned working together with Heroku and, having to limit, pushes and stuff. Do you think it was easier just doing everything by yourself? I know it's more work, but from the organizational aspect, how did you feel about that? And do you think you want to do another one as a team?
Yeah, so when it's just you definitely don't need to adjust to different time zones, but it's just you again. Any difficulties that I met, I had to figure out by myself, and was completely on me. And I found that missing that part of it, having a discussion with someone else, seeing their approach, and just having someone else there to say what they're thinking. If I was ever to do it again, which maybe I will definitely prefer to be in a team. I think that's the great place for some collaboration to happen, and I really miss that. Cool.
Well, either way, solo or as a team, you did great. So great job. Josh, you have your hand up. What's up?
That reminded me of one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, is that yes, they started working about a month or 5 weeks or so ago. They didn't get the mobile designs until about 2.5 weeks ago. So everybody has adjusted mid project to implement those, and they did a really excellent. Everybody did an excellent job with that. So
yes, that is definitely difficult. We usually try our best to have all the information at the planning phase, but yeah, sometimes you have to add more halfway through. But anyway, I didn't even notice that. So everyone did great on that respect. So cool. Well, thank you so much, Dasha. Appreciate it. Now we are going on to, let's see, team. The next team, we have Renita, Mina, all ready to present.
One moment, still eating.
All good. I'm drinking my bubbly, so we're good.
Sorry about that. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Looks good.
Nice. So we are team, I think, green. Mina, feel free to correct me. I always forget what color we are. I think we're team green. We did get a very late start on this project. I think we started on March 15th. So things like animations we don't have, but I think we nailed it in terms of mobile resolution and just getting it to kind of match. So this is the website. We did tweak the design a little bit. I was thinking that it'd be nice to just have this distinguishing border between the rest of the website and the nav bar. So that's really the only way that it differs. Everything else is pretty much to spec. So yeah, we have the mobile resolution for the solution block down. Where is it? Little nav bar down here. It goes forward and backward. That was fixed today, just in time for this presentation. We have our little awesome container soldiers, you know, letting us know about the ways that we can help our environment. So yeah, you've probably seen this like 15 times today. But yeah, I think that we got as close to the design as we can. The little other embellishments that we've added is like, you know, for things like links and navigations, we do have it highlightable. It does take you outside the page. So when people are looking at your profiles, they're not leaving your website, keeping that traffic in-house. We also decided to make some adjustments to the nav bar in mobile and iPad view. So now it kind of adjusts based on where you are. So this is for like iPad level. It does use the mobile nav because we no longer have this at the top, but it will still keep the mobile in like pop-up form. But then as you go to your mobile device, it kind of extends to take up the entire screen. So it wasn't included in the design, but we're just trying to find ways to make it easier throughout the website, you know, to the best of our ability. We somehow maintained this box shadow, which was really difficult to do at the time, but paid off. Oh, we've discovered a bug. Let's just pretend we didn't see that today. But yeah, this is where we're at so far. For the most part, it is done. And then I think for challenges, Mina, if you want to speak to some of the challenges that you faced. I think this is our first group project, or it might be my first and Mina's not first. You want to take it away?
Yeah, so for the start of the project, we sort of split everything and tackled things as we went. So the first thing I tackled was the homepage, and the slider was particularly really interesting for me to deal with because that was the first time making a slider. I used the, what do you call it? The React image slider. Okay, so my brain just went blank. But yeah, I didn't build it from scratch. I lost my notes. Anyways, yeah, so that was a bit difficult to handle, but then it came through quite nicely and we had it all pixel perfect. And so that went really well. Another challenge that we had was the time zone, obviously. I am currently in Ghana and she's in the US, so finding time to work together was a bit of a challenge. It's actually 1 a.m. now, so it was kind of a challenge finding time to put everything together. But all in all, I think it went pretty well. And I would say that it greatly improved my Googling skills because I had to Google a lot of things. And it really helped me to find solutions on my own. And also getting feedback was also really, really helpful for me from Josh and then from also AJ. So yeah, that was really good.
Cool. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us. Obviously, we know it's very late there, so thank you for staying up. Very cool presentation, very cool project. And yeah, thank you there. Do we have any comments from Hung or Josh?
Yeah, I love how they took the initiative to add some extra designs. The header looks great, how it just follows the page when you scroll down. And when you shrink it to mobile size, it automatically goes to the hamburger menu. So that's a really, really cool feature. Good job.
Yeah, I think for your guys' first time doing this, I think this is really excellent. And the dealing with the time zone issues too. I was going to say I really like that you guys use the task tracker, to break out the work and then to track progress and things. That's a really nice collaborative tool. I think that's a great talking point when you're in interviews later, talking about how you went about this. Talking about how you organize the work into tickets and track those and communicate across time zones, especially the way most teams are remote right now. That's going to be a really good skill to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to reiterate, I also was a fan of the little tweaks you made outside of design. That's always awesome to take the creative initiative, especially if you're skilled and you're doing it correctly, which obviously looks like y'all did. So great job there. Let's see. You mentioned that I think you mentioned that you had a different time frame, that you started a little later. Is that true? Did you all just like decide to jump in after the original start date, or?
I'm muted.
Do you want to take that one?
Are you taking it or should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So we both decided to do it independently, but then along the way, we're like, oh, let's just join our superpowers and just make this work. So we ended up coming together, and then it was actually Sonia who encouraged us to make a team and then make this work. And it was a really great experience working with Renata. I'm looking forward to the next project.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. That's a good, like, heartwarming story. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, team. Another great job. Another really cool application. Something you all should be very proud of. Let's see here. I believe that is all of our teams. So let's see. We should be pretty much good to go. Yep, that's it. Okay, cool. So wrapping up. Thank you to all of the students. We have also 6 students who just passed the capstone project for Practicum. So Renita, Wilhelmina, Alec, Katya, Guy, congratulations to all of you. Pretty much graduating from the course, finishing that last capstone project. I know that's a doozy. And then also balancing this on top of it in the last month or so. That is a lot of work, and congratulations. So round of applause to them. Great job. So wrapping up, thank you everyone so much for coming. We really appreciate your time. I know it's late. I know it's for some of you extremely, extremely late, and I know your time is valuable. So thank you to all of the participants. All of your presentations were spot on. All of your work was great. And also it was for a great cause for this awesome container company. Thank you to Josh as well for working with these students, guiding them, and just giving them your expertise. And then of course, thank you to Hung as well for working with us and giving these students these opportunities. And also just working with Practicum in general. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate you coming out for this stream tonight. It was great to have you. So thank you as well. And then I believe that is it. If you'd like to discuss any of these projects or give feedback, feel free to share your thoughts and comments in the web community channel. We'll be posting in there. And then if you'd like to join an Apiary project yourself, like join another one, you can join the waiting list as well. For anyone who's finished the 10th sprint, any students who may be watching this later, once you finish that 10th sprint, you can join and complete an Apiary project just like these awesome kids have here. So with that, thank you everyone, and have a fantastic weekend.